It's a new year and it's a new episode of Ready to Love, and this one was good, guys. Stay tuned. Hi there, Simply Subbies, and welcome back to the Simply Stacy YouTube channel. It is 2022. It is actually January the 2nd, 2022. So I am super excited. This is my first video that I am filming of the new year, and guys, we made it. We here. Happy New Year to you and your family. I'm wishing you guys more love, more life, and more peace this year. Before we get started, I did want to say thank you for 2021. It was an outstanding, amazing year. You guys supported me, and I just want to give you a heartfelt thank you from me to you. Let's do bigger and better in 22. Okay, so we're talking reality recap. I actually had a 2-week break between Ready to Love episode 10 and 11, and it was much needed. If you guys are following along, you guys know we did Vlogmas this year, and I was putting out a new video the 1st through the 25th of December. 1 video per day. That was a lot of work. It was fun, but I did need that week break in between. This is actually our last recap, and then they have one more week following this one. This one is called For Reason, Season, or Lifetime, episode number 11. And yeah, one more episode and it is the final. So we can get to wrapping this season on up as well. If you guys were following The Bachelorette, we did wrap that up during Vlogmas, so go back and check out that video. If you missed it and you want to see who Michelle Young chose and who the final couple was, that was an amazing season. I really liked it. I don't believe that I'm going to shoot The Bachelor this year. When I do all the reality recaps, it definitely takes away from the content that I put out for you guys, because I'm doing that every week on a weekly basis. So I am probably going to do maybe a wrap up with a lot of reality shows on one and not just each individual show, but I haven't decided that yet. But let's get into A Reason, Season, or Lifetime, Ready to Love, Season 5, Episode 11 on the OWN Network. Okay, guys, real quick. 2022, I'm using my new journal. You guys know I used to use the yellow Simpli list, which is available at stacyhuddleston.com/shop. These journals are amazing. They're hardcover journals. They come in bright, vibrant colors. This one says, Simply Living is about love, trust, and of course, mimosas for brunch. Like, who doesn't love a good mimosa, right? Right. So yeah, these are, I believe, $14.99 on the Simply Stacy store. So again, check that out. That is stacyhuddleston.com/shop. Okay, let's just get right to it. It starts off in the ladies' lounge. Okay, if you guys remember last week, 4 people went home last week. So Cornelius was finally sent home at the beginning of the episode. Camille self-eliminated because there was no one else there for her. And then Zadia was sent home at the end. And Naeem, he self-eliminated because there was no one else left for him either. So they are back at the ladies' lounge, minus those Camille and Zadia, because they have been eliminated. And then Tommy basically tells the lady, like, we had a lot going on, but this week I want you guys to introduce the men to your families and, you know, see how that goes. So first up is Sydney. Sydney has her parents, and Phil is actually meeting her parents. Phil shows up with 2 dozen, like, when I say these were great bouquets, like they were super full of roses. One was red, he gave to Sydney. One was white, dozen roses he gave to her mom. And then he also brought the dad, I think a bottle of liquor, like cognac or bourbon or something like that. I think it was actually bourbon. So yeah, she's talking to her parents, and then Phil walks in, and the mom was so funny. Like, she just really got to it. She was like, what does your savings account look like? Sydney was all embarrassed, like, Mom, you can't be asking people that. She was like, no, I mean, like, you trying to be in a relationship, you're gonna be dating my daughter, what does that look like? Can you provide for her and stuff like that? I thought it was funny. And then she was telling Phil what Sydney needs in a man. She's like, you know, my daughter's a great girl. She needs somebody who does all these things. Sydney started crying. She says in her 33 years on this earth, or in dating or whatever, she has experienced a lot of heartbreak. And so she kind of got emotional. Phil seemed to hold his own. Her dad and mom both seem to like him. And of course, Sydney does like him. But of course, she still has Frank out there in the wings. So there's that. But the parents did kind of give Phil their stamp of approval. Phil to me is like always going to say the right things. Like he did very well on his 3 friendship dates. He did very well on his 3 dates with the exes. Like he can be a people person, I guess I would say. So the parents definitely did like Phil. Next up is Aisha. She has her mom and her younger brother, and they are meeting Dante. She's like, I've just married for, I believe, 11 years, and, I really want them to like him and, see how this goes. Aisha has 2 kids. Dante has 3 kids. Listen, the brother started off. He was like, you know what, sir? Now, he did bring flowers, too. Now, listen, his bouquet was not hitting on what Phil's was hitting on, honey. I was like, is that even 12? They might have been the buds, like they weren't even blossomed fully, like like the ones that Phil gave to Sydney and her parents, but they were nice. He gave the dozen, I believe, flowers, or the bouquet. Let's say the bouquet. I don't know if they were roses or not, to her mom, and it was still a nice gesture. I'm just saying he should have used Phil's florist. I mean, am I wrong? Did y'all notice that? Put that in the comments down below if y'all did notice that, because I definitely did. Anyway, so Aisha's brother's talking to Dante like, yeah, I heard about your family structure a little bit. Like, you got 3 kids by 3 different baby mamas. What's that like? Is somebody gonna be trying to pull up? What's it like? Is my sister gonna be in danger? And he was like, no, all of my children's moms, I have a good relationship with them. 2 of them have actually moved on, and they are now they are now married. So I was like, okay, I guess that's good. The third one, he didn't say she moved on or she was married, but I'm assuming that she is and she has. I don't even know how old his children are, but whatever it was, they asked him a few more questions. The mom asked a specific question, I guess maybe is where they got the title for this episode. She asked him, hey, you're in Aisha's life. Do you see it for a reason, a season, or a lifetime? Dante says it's definitely for a lifetime. The mom was like, well, are y'all moving too fast? And he was like, no, when basically when we're moving at our own pace. We are both on the same page. And I was like, okay, this is something where a person chose a person. Like he had told Zadia last week, I chose Aisha. Aisha has been not basically choosing anyone but Dante since the retreat. So it seems like they both chose each other. And they're looking at long-term future, not just we could be girlfriend and boyfriend after the show, possibly. So we'll see how that goes. Next up is Moomin. So Moomin's family is there. Moomin's father, her favorite uncle, I believe she said, and one of her sisters. And so Moomin is Cameroonian. So they're from Africa, but she's Cameroonian. And then Frank is Ghanaian. Is he from Ghana? Yes, Frank is from Ghana. So it's so funny because she's like letting her family know who they were going to meet and his background. So she's like, yes, he's from Ghana. Her daddy was like, well, why you didn't pick a Cameroonian? She was like, it wasn't no Cameroon people in the bunch. It was just me. Like, that was the closest I was going to get, Dad. So I did good. I still got a West African. We from West Africa. He from West Africa. A lot of our traditions and stuff should be the same. But that was funny to me because they're like, I mean, if you're going to pick somebody, he should be from Cameroon too. That was so funny. So Frank does say that he's excited to meet her family, but meeting African parents is a little bit different than meeting, like American parents. And he said, but I'm African too, so, I basically can hold my own. And he was like, let's just be honest. African parents want you to meet and marry an African person and have African babies. He was like, let's just be honest. It is what it is. And it's so funny because Moomin's daddy basically said the same thing, but he wanted the whole same, not just African, but Cameroon. But I thought that was so cute. They had their, traditional garb on. They were looking real good. And Frank comes and he meets everyone. They seem to have a good conversation. The dad does ask him, like, how do you feel about my daughter? Are you ready to be in a relationship with Moomin? And Frank says, I am ready to be in a relationship. He did not say with Moomin. So he left that part off because he still really isn't sure. He still has Sydney waiting in the wings as well. They're talking. The uncle asks a couple questions. And then the dad does say, like, the uncle says, is there someone else? I believe the uncle asked, was there someone else? Or where is she in the pecking order? It was either the dad or the uncle that asked. It was probably the daddy. And he was like, well, I will be honest, there is another person that I am also technically dating as well. Frank was honest, and he said, I am, still dating another person. And when I say Moomin's dad, did I like that? He did not like that one bit. He was like, well, don't waste her time. Do not waste Moomin's time. If you think this is an adventure or you looking for an adventure, this ain't it. Get off. This ain't the one. So I was cracking up. So anyway, they get through the conversation. He leaves. And so the dad and the sister and the uncle are giving Moomin their opinions. The sister was like, you know what? I'm going to say no because in my mind, maybe I'm biased, but there's no comparison to you. So why is he even dating somebody else? Like, why? Like, why hasn't he just chosen you at this point? So I'm like, girl, you are funny. And then the dad said something too, like, yeah, I agree with that. Then the uncle was like, gosh, she already explained to us this process, that it is a process and they are dating multiple people. So he was honest. So then the daddy was like, okay, you know what? At least he was honest. So it seems like they came back around to Frank. Okay, so that was the end of that. Next up was Shiloh and Phil. So this is the shocker of the entire episode. I'm going to need y'all to comment down below and let me know what y'all think because I have so many thoughts in my head. So Shiloh and Phil, if you guys remember last week at the retreat or 2 weeks ago at the retreat, they were in a place where Shiloh told Phil that she decided she is choosing him. But remember, Phil had just started connecting with Sydney. So he didn't know for sure if it was Shiloh or Sydney. And if y'all remember what I told y'all last week, I think he'd rather have Sydney, but he doesn't know where she is because Frank is still in the picture. So I don't think it's Shiloh because he would have just been like, yeah, cool. Yep, it's just me and you. But he's really entertaining Sydney. And I think that their vibe is just better. I really see it with him and Sydney. So anyway, child, they are meeting with Tommy. And I'm like, okay, so this ain't no parent date, no families, what's going on? So apparently the night before they got an altercation and it got really, really bad. So they need to come talk to Tommy about it. I'm like, now what happened? So apparently they was out at this bar and Shiloh wanted to ask Phil again. Like, when I told you I picked you, you didn't say anything back. You just kissed me. Like, when I got to thinking on that don't mean you told me an answer. I'm like, girl, he told you an answer by not telling you an answer. But anyway, so I guess she asked this same question at the bar again. And he was just basically like, I got you. And she was like, I don't know what that means. Like, you still not answering my question, all this stuff. So she gets angry. She wants to walk away, she says. She walks away and she says he follows her because it picks her up. And she did not want to be touched. She did not want him to pick her up. She wanted space. And he should not put his hands on her and all this stuff. So Tommy's like, wait, what happened? Like, were there drinks involved? He got to get all the details because apparently, Shiloh, you leaving details out. So Phil says he had a shot. I think Shiloh said she had some drinks they had been drinking before. All this stuff. He asked Phil what happened. Phil says it was 4 or 5 a.m. He's like, dang, what was y'all out that late for? Y'all shouldn't have even been there still. Like, y'all shouldn't even been out that late. They're grown, but whatever. It's the show, I guess. And of course, they were not filming. They were just hanging out on their own like they tend to do. And so he said she decides to walk off to a dark alley in D.C. He was like, you don't just walk off in a dark alley in D.C. streets. And so I wanted to protect her. So I picked her up to take her back to the car or head her back to the car. That's what she had to. She was like, she was triggered and all this stuff. So what I can understand is that maybe you do need space, and I can also understand that you may be triggered. And I do understand that Phil should not have touched you or picked you up. But when he's explaining that you are 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, you guys have been drinking, the streets are probably rather empty at this point, and you are walking down a dark alley. She's like, well, you could have just followed me and seen if I was okay. Ma'am, he said, I don't feel safe in that alley. So should none of us be going down the alley? Because now we both in here. Now we both outside of the visibility of cameras, people, anything else. So should he have picked her up? Probably not. But Phil says, I made an executive decision. And, either I let you go down this alley. If something happened to you, what? So Tommy is just like, oh my God, this is just too much. I think y'all still have some feelings for each other. Maybe y'all can work it out. Maybe y'all need to owe each other. Y'all need to have a sit down. Just the two of you guys. Talk it out. So basically that was it. And I was sitting here looking like, what is going on? It's just a lot to unpack here. But I'm not going to unpack it right now because they actually do have that sit down before the episode is over. And I'll get into it then. So next up, again, and it's Frank. But she doesn't allow him to meet her parents. So I was like, oh, that's telling. He meets her sister. So I'm like, okay. And it was so funny because they were just kind of talking about Frank and her and their relationship. And the sister was like, so you like him or there's sparks? And she was like, well, there are sparks, but I do feel like I find myself not being completely myself when I'm with him. I'm like, girl, that's already a red flag. Why is he still in the picture? And I was like, do you really like him? And that's what the sister basically is like, do you really like him? Or you like the thought of it? I think it was always familiarity. They knew people that knew each other. They had seen each other around. And I thought it was more that when her and Phil connected, I was like, oh, Sydney likes Phil. Honestly, I think Frank does like Sydney. And I think she was like liking him when he was the only one liking her. But once Phil came around, she was like, oh, I like Phil. And remember, she asked Phil out. Phil didn't even ask her out. So she really just liked Phil, basically. So he comes and they talk and chat and meet. And then when it's all over, the sister was like, you know what? I mean, I like him, but I get friend vibes from the two of you. So then Sydney's like, dang, I got to think about it. But I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I get. I know they're like affectionate. They hug you, kissy, love you, kissy, whatever. But I don't think she really likes him like that. Next up is Walter and Sabrina. So Sabrina says she has a cousin who just had a baby. So they're going to do a phone call, FaceTime, Zoom call or something. So it's her cousin that is in New York. And yeah, they have conversations. She asks, like, what drew you to Sabrina? Like, she asks really good questions. And he was just saying, from the first day they met, it was just instant connection and chemistry. And they, have always been vibing. And, like, when they look at each other, they just kind of laugh. And Sabrina's like, yeah, we still do that today. Like, you can tell she likes him, but she's always had red flags when it came to Walter. Last week, she said, even, like, from the resort or the retreat, she didn't really hear from him when she got back until they went out on a date. So he's not even being super consistent with her. She thinks that she was kind of a consolation prize because Moomin had moved on or Moomin did something, but not that he had really chose her. And I still think he can't get past the fact that she was that exotic dancer back in the day. But then the cousin brings up another point that I don't really think we knew. She said, oh yes, I know that Sabrina told me that you're used to dating younger women. I said, okay, because remember, Sabrina's the oldest. I think she's 47, which is the same age Walter is. But Moomin, again, on the other hand, was in her 20s. So I said, oh, Moomin is who he usually dates. Okay, and that's probably why he hasn't gotten married, because he keeps dating these younger women. So he says, that it's not about that. He wants to date a person that he can cherish and that cherishes him back. And when he thinks about it, like, if his wife hadn't died because he is a widower, that she would be Sabrina's age. And Sabrina was like, oh, okay, it's good to see that insight from him because, it's not all about just the age or whatever. And he's not saying that that's what he wanted because he would have still been with his wife who would have been my age. She was like, plus, I look better than half of these young people anyway. And I was like, she does. She does not at all look 47. So there is that. So he probably got the best of both worlds. And he got him a young, cute thing who is older, who is his age and mature and all that stuff and want the same things out of life. Now, the only thing I think they're going to have a problem with is if he actually wants children. She has I believe, 8-year-old and she doesn't want any more. And she's 47, so she may not even be able to have any more. So there is that. Next up, they're at the ladies' lounge. Everyone lets Tommy know how their dates went and how their families like them. Sydney gets to the point where she's like, yeah, and I introduced my parents and my sisters to different people, and they was like, oh, well, which one did they pick for you? She was like, oh, I'm going to keep that to myself. I'm not going to tell anybody. And then, of course, Shiloh wants to talk. And, Tommy allows her to talk into her story. She tells the whole Phil situation. And Sydney's like, of all I know of him, and Tommy asked her, like, well, have you ever seen him act that way too? I know you're dating Phil too. And she was like, not at all. She's like, I know he's a protector, so maybe he was trying to protect her. But, if you don't mind, I'll talk to him about it, Shiloh. Shiloh's like, no, of course. You talk to him about it. But I think he didn't choose Shiloh. She noticed that in that moment she wanted to keep on pressing him till he gave her the answer she wanted. And he didn't give her the answer. So then she got mad. She walked out. And he did pick her up and try to bring her back to the car. So Tommy says there is not going to be an elimination this week. Shiloh, I think you need to clear up whatever you need to clear up with Phil. And I'll see you guys next week. So Shiloh and Phil actually do meet. Y'all, so this is the part. So she goes to talk to him, and I think he does talk first. I can't remember if she talked first or if he talked first. I think it was her, but she said something about like she was triggered. He doesn't know what she's been through in her life, and for him to pick her up, and she's capable, highly capable of walking to the car by herself and all of this stuff. And so I don't know if her and Phil had talked about this thing prior to this actual sit down again since they met with Tommy or what, but he does go ahead and explain his side. But I think he may have apologized at some point. I don't recall it in the Tommy one, and I don't really recall it on this one, but he probably should have started with, Shiloh, I apologize that you were triggered by that. I was never intending to hurt you. I just wanted to get you to safety. He basically said that without the apology part. And maybe he had already said it, so he didn't do it this time. But when we got to the bottom of it, it was 5 or 4 a.m. in the morning. She walks down this dark alley. She thought he should have just walked with her. Because he's like, what did you want me to do? If something happened to you in the alley, or if I left you and something happened to you, like, I made a decision. I made a in the moment decision, and I picked you up. Maybe I should not have done that, but I was trying to get you back to safety. I was not even comfortable going in the alley. We're in the streets of DC before 6 a.m. Like, it's just not a good look. So I'm like, yeah, girl, you're doing too much at this point. Yes, he probably shouldn't have picked you up, but you probably should have just turned around and not gone down no dark alley either. You should have went back to your car and went home, or let him take you back home, or call the Uber, whatever it was. You was putting both of y'all selves in danger. You was putting you in danger and him in danger. And then you expected him to just like follow you down this alley into what? Till you change your mind, till you no longer want to space. Like, girl, it just, none of it is really making much sense. So that's why I got a problem. Because yes, she was triggered. I understand that. And no, he shouldn't have put his hands on her. But I do understand if he's being a protector, he thinks you're in harm's way and you're going to put both of y'all in harm's way. He like, come on, let's just go. So he did like gather you to put you over there. Should he have picked you up? No. But would you have gone with him any other way? No. But she was just like, this is irreversible. I'm tired of hearing your excuses. Like, I think she was being very much a jerk. She didn't even think about it and never came to like, okay, I see where you were going. She did tell the women in the ladies' lounge she does not think Phil was physically trying to hurt her. She did not feel unsafe with him. She just did not think he should touch her. Okay, I get it. But you didn't even feel, you knew he wasn't trying to do nothing. So he was like, do you think I was trying to hurt you? Because he's like, I think you attacking my character. Like, that's how it feels. Do you think I was trying to hurt you? And she was like, yes, emotionally. Girl, him picking you up to get you to the car was trying to hurt you emotionally. No. You realized he wanted Sydney and not you. And so now you say he was trying to hurt you emotionally when he was just playing this game. You signed up for this. You knew he was dating multiple people. Just because you chose him, just like when Tyrone chose you early on, you told him that made you feel uncomfortable because you weren't there yet. That is where Phil currently still is. Him and Sydney's connection came. First of all, she came middle of the road. And then they didn't get to connecting until 2 weeks ago. So yeah, he was all into you when there was nobody but you. And now he got somebody else to kind of have his time with. So I don't like it. I don't know. I'll never be trying to say or make people's feelings not valid. She is valid in her feelings that she was triggered. She needs to get some therapy. That she was triggered by what he did. She does 100% know in her heart that man was not trying to hurt her emotionally or physically. He just is in a place where he is, and maybe he could have handled things and said things to her differently. But the reason he wasn't telling her the truth too is because he was trying to protect her emotionally. Because he could have just said, you know what, I really do like Sydney, maybe a little bit more, and I'm trying to see. He could have said that, but he did. So him not telling her what she wanted to hear is what caused this whole ruckus, y'all. So I don't know how this is going to end up with him and Sydney now that has been brought to light. But Shiloh did go talk to Tommy, and she said, you know what, I got to stand up for myself, and I am self-eliminating. I wanted to leave with the relationship, but this is not going to work, and all this stuff. I don't even know. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. That's what I'm going to say. Let me know, but I do 100% think that Phil should not have touched her, but I do understand where he was coming from. And as far as her, I think that she can give him a little bit of grace to know that he was trying to get them to a better place, out of their home safely, as opposed to going down a dark alley in DC streets. So that, guys, wraps up this week's episode of Ready to Love, episode number 11, A Reason, a Season, or a Lifetime. And next week is it. The men are introducing their final women to their to their families. And then they're choosing either they're going to be in somebody's life for a reason, season, or a lifetime. I can't wait till they get to the end of this because I really, like I said, don't see it for anybody. Walt is giving so many red flags when it comes to Sabrina without being consistent and communicating frequently throughout the week and throughout the process, only just like here and there. And I don't think that's going to work long term. So I don't know who's going to decide what at the end of this. I do think Sydney and Phil like each other, but there's still Frank. I think Sydney's going to realize that Frank is just a friend to her. I think Frank really likes Sydney, but Moomin is probably a safer choice because they have that African connection. They, have the same kind of cultures and stuff like that. I don't know which way it's going to go. Basically, when he was talking to Sydney and her sister, he told Sydney afterwards that, basically, I choose you, but you have a point in this too, kind of something like that. And I think Phil also kind of told her the same thing too. Like, I know Frank is still in the picture, but if you want to do this thing, I want to do it. So I think they were both really picking her without saying it, and keeping the other people in the wings. Now that's how Phil has. And Frank probably still will try to pick her and not Moomin. But he might surprise me and pick Moomin next week. Let me know in the comments below, who are your favorite couples? Who do you think they're going to end up with at the end? And do you think they're all going to say yes or not? Because if y'all know, last season, there's only one couple standing. Oh, actually, there is no couples, I think, from last season. Season 3 with Rashid and Simone, they're actually the only couple that is together. And they weren't even together on the show much. He liked her. They went on a date. She got sent home. They hooked up afterwards, and now they're going strong. But the couples, Liz and Jason from last season, they have called it quits. They were the only couple really that stayed together after that anyway. So, I don't know. They may need to change up their casting. I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments below. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. We have so much new content coming your way in 2022. Happy New Year! Until next time. See ya.